you about sex. Premarital sex is so powerful, it affects marital sex. When you start sleeping with people you are not married to, you are, as a human being, you are like a plain sheet. Every encounter with a human being puts an imprint on that paper. So if I have a piece of paper and I've written something on it before, and I write on that thing on it, with that news thing I'm writing, will it be clear? It won't be clear because there's already something behind it. So that you need to strain to pick out. That's what happens to you when you've had many experiences. You now want to have an experience with your present husband or wife. You'll be comparing. When married people tell me, I'm not enjoying sex in my marriage, I say, compared to what? You are comparing it to something. If this is the only sex you have ever had, it will be the best sex you have ever had. Because it's the only one you ever had. But you have dated 5 men. One is good with kissing, one is good with switching, one is good with domassage. Then you now marry one bomboy that don't have any experience. There's no way you'll be happy. You are setting yourself up for happiness. This is what I'm saying. This is what makes many people don't stay joined together. Too many experiences to compare what you have with. In God's design, both of you are supposed to marry as virgins, and this is your only experience. If it's your only experience, you'll be happy with it. The satisfaction many people have in their marriages is based on the many experiences they have.
Okay, wow. Listen, if you're new to the channel, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification to uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated. All right, listen. My voice is feeling crispy. Anyway, let's talk about this. The conversation that he's had. I actually agree with parts of his message, and I disagree with parts of his message. I've actually followed this gentleman for a little while, and he actually preached some really good stuff about relationships. In this instance, I wonder if there is a blind spot in his preaching in this instance, right? Because let me put it this way. Okay, so there are kind of like 2 or 3 subjects going in here at the present moment. Premarital sex, sex in marriage, and then people divorcing or breaking up. Divorcing because of bad sex, right? Or causing major arguments or distance between the partners. Okay, first and foremost. All right, so the Bible prescribes very clearly we shouldn't be having sex before marriage. It says if you're burning with passion, marry. Yeah, if you're burning with the passions, marry. Okay, cool. Right, we can all agree with that. We don't need to fight over that. Now, here's a key thing. In amongst that, what's being said is this, okay, is that he's saying that, you know what, certain people are divorcing and breaking up and saying, you know, they're having bad sex and it's because of the experience they had. This is partly true. Some people will have bad experiences with other people because they've had sex elsewhere with someone else and it was freaking amazing, right? That's not a lie. I think that's fairly true. I think where this misses the mark is this. To say that somebody wouldn't know what good sex is someone wouldn't know what good sex is if they never had sex would, I believe, not be true. And I'll tell you why it wouldn't be true. Because then we're denying the biological response that happens with the body when it comes to sex. As much as sex is about the mind, it's about the body. When I deal with a woman and you touch the erogenous, is it erogenous or erogenous? How do you pronounce it? You know what I'm talking about, right? Zones, okay? And I touch certain spots on her body, right? She knows it feels good, okay? Right? She doesn't need me to do it 100 million times. The first time I ever do it, if it feels good to her, she's gonna feel good, right? You don't need someone to do it several times over to compare. You know what feels good when someone touches you, right? Now, if after sex you climax, yeah, on your first time ever having sex with somebody, with your first boyfriend, you're going to know it feels good because it felt good because biologically you responded. The body responded. You climaxed. Like you would know that this was good sex, all right? And then, and to say, and that's why the Bible says we're in the world but not a part of it. You cannot get away from hearing other people's experiences about sex, right? So if you're hearing other women saying, do you know what, my partner's sex is amazing, but yet when you have sex, he doesn't foreplay. He doesn't, warm the oven, as they say. Doesn't kiss you very well, right? And it's not feeling good. Because remember as well, as part of sex, it's also the feeling, right? That doesn't come into play. First person or whether you have other partners, you're going to know, all right? You're going to know because it's a biological response to what's happening to you. You're being touched and there's a response, a reaction to the stimuli. Right? So we can't pretend as if the person wouldn't know that this would feel good. Right? So bad sex can exist regardless of whether the person's had several partners or not. Okay? So I want to just play a little bit back on the video. Some people were talking about the wife looked like she was not happy about this topic.
Premarital sex is so powerful, it affects marital sex. When you start sleeping with people you are not married to, you are, as a human being, you are like a plain sheet. Every encounter with a human being puts an imprint on that paper. So if I have a piece of paper and I've written something on it before, and I write on that thing on it, with that new thing I'm writing, will it be clear? It won't be clear because there's already something behind it. So that you need to strain to pick out. That's what.
And this is honestly true. Once you have sex with somebody, you're going to have that experience in your bank, and you're naturally going to compare whenever you get somebody, which is why you got to be good. But no, in all honesty, yes, you're going to compare. You know, you're going to know whether this is good or not. But here's the thing as well that's most important. The comparison is always going to be there. What's really important is asking people and getting people to really focus on the emotional connection that comes around it. Because what amazing sex isn't just the act, it's the emotional, mental care that both parties are heavily involved in, as well as the sexual act. And then in the sexual act, is there a taking care of? Is there me trying to find out how to be better? Like like bad sex is this, you not wanting to learn. Bad sex is you doing things that don't pleasure the person, right? Bad sex is things that are selfish in the bedroom. Bad sex is all about you. That's bad sex. And if the person's unwilling to learn that, if the person's unwilling to put you at the forefront in terms of servitude in sex, then yeah, you are having bad sex. And you don't need to compare yourself to know that. Because what you're feeling right now is you're not being taken care of in the sexual department. The person's not, you're not making, the person doesn't take you to the hill. But you take him to the hill all the time. Right? You have sex, you roll over. That's bad sex. They're going to know that. Because it's making them feel some type of way. You get me? Yeah? So I don't need to be comparing that. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't need to compare that. Alright? Yeah? As somebody said, listen, do I need to taste... what does bitter leaf taste like in your mouth? It tastes bitter. Do I need to be told twice? When you give a lemon to a child, the child reacts to the lemon. Because it's sour. So we have basic responses to certain things. You give a lemon to a child, that child's gonna go because it's sour, and there's a natural reaction from your taste buds telling you this is sour. And it's the same thing with sex. There's going to be a natural reaction to a stimuli or behavior or action that this ain't great sex, and I'm not being fulfilled, I'm not being pleasured, I'm not being taken care of, I'm not being shown affection and care. It's all about you per se. That's bad sex. The person's going to know. They don't need to have 3 or 4 other partners to know this. That's why I said I disagreed with him in some aspect. Although I agree with the fact that, you are going to make comparisons if you are no longer a clean sheet. I've been there, and I'm still there. Because obviously, clearly, if once you lose virginity, you lost virginity. You know what I mean? You're going to compare, right? But I'll be honest with this, I don't really compare anyone to my first girlfriends or second girlfriends or third. I don't really compare like that. Now, my thing is more of a case of, do I connect with you? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't remember a time I've compared with any of my girlfriends per se. But have I been like, okay, did that work? Was that good? Or I'm always looking to improve. So that was my kind of thing. My thing was always like, how can I improve? My thing was always, how can I pleasure you? That was my kind of thing all the time. I want to put you at the forefront. Because good sex for me is when both of our people are enjoying it. Now, I don't think you necessarily need to have that aspect and date 3 or 4 people to get to that place. I think you either have it or you don't have it. That kind of thought process where you put the other person first. It's servitude, it's love, as well. So I appreciate the pastor what he says, you know what I mean? I disagree with him, but you know what? I always got respect for him. He's always got a good word on him. So much like, share, subscribe.